Hey everybody, what's going on? This is your Thursday masterclass all about how to create the love you want. And I am thrilled into this with you today. If we haven't met yet, it is great to meet you. I'm Amanda Belke. I am a professional life coach and speaker. So I'm based in Minnesota and I get the awesome opportunity to work with clients in over 15 different countries. So I love what I get to do. I'm excited to be here with you. A little bit about me before I got into the coaching industry, I was actually working in a corporate setting and for a Fortune 500 company and really enjoyed it at the time. Then as my life started shifting, I decided to switch careers and really dive into coaching. So I've done some of my training with Tony Robbins and his company, Robbins Research International, which was a fantastic experience. And now I get to also go into some of those Fortune 500 companies around the Twin Cities and other areas and do trainings. So I love that aspect of it. I love being able to connect with you, connect with people, and share all of these strategies that really make a huge difference in our life. So today, diving into how to create the love you want, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 secrets today. So these are the 4 secrets that the women in my coaching program, the Relationship Lab, have heard. That is a really great 4-week program that it's not open right now for enrollment. But if you have found yourself wanting to create better connections, relationships, not just romantic relationships, but other relationships, that's the program for you. I hear so much incredible feedback from the ladies that go through this program and how it completely shifted their relationship or it changed who they believed they were, or it gave them hope and tools and strategies to use to improve that relationship, or it gave them courage to step out and start dating or to make new friendships, whatever it is. I've heard such great feedback on that program and all the shifts and breakthroughs that the ladies have that go through that. So that is one of my programs that is only for women. It's just women going through that. So I get to coach both men and women, but in the Relationship Lab, that's only women. So this is an opportunity for all of those people that haven't gone through the Relationship Lab, or if you're a man, a guy out there, and you want to know more about these 4 secrets, this is for you. So if you want to grow your relationship, if you want to be in a committed relationship, if you want to feel more connection, this is for you. This is exactly where you need to be right now. There's a reason why you were called to watch this or to be with us live. So with that, we are going to dive in. I am just going to pre-warn you. I'm going to be looking down at some of my great notes that I wrote up for you guys today because I want to make sure that you get everything possible out of this masterclass. I want to give you all the value. I don't want to leave out anything. And therefore, you might see me take a peek down at those notes for today. So we're going to kick it off with the 4 different secrets to creating that love that you want. Whether you are single, dating, married, engaged, wherever you are, you will find value in this and you will be able to apply these 4 secrets to your life. So the first secret is all about creating a vision. So it's all about creating a vision for your life. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in that relationship? How do you want to feel? You know, when you think about your relationship, it's what are you doing with your body? What are you focusing on? What are you saying to yourself? It's thinking about all of those things. How are you showing up? You know, all of those things matter. And you have to get crystal clear with that vision. So I'm not just talking about the vision of, you know what, I want to get married by this age. I want to have this many kids. I want to have this type of relationship. That's all well and good. However, you have to start with the very specifics about you and who you want to attract. So you have to start with, who do you want to be as a partner? And what kind of partner are you looking for? and doing the work to get really clear on that. And the more clear you are and the more intentional you are, the greater your chance of attracting that is in your life. So I've got a very real story for you about my own life that I'll share with you. And this was, probably about 3 years ago now. And I had gone through a terrible breakup, and I had created that list of exactly who I wanted to be as a partner, who I was looking for as a partner. I made a list of probably 19 different things in my notebook of exactly who I was looking for and what I valued. And I reviewed that list on a consistent basis. I held so tightly to that so that I could date with intention. And I have to say that my fiance, yes, I'm engaged, he is the most incredible man. And I kid you not, I literally read the list to my fiance. He is all 19 things. When I first read that, when we were dating, I started crying because it was just that really joyful moment of realizing that you do have the power to attract what you need and what you want when you get very clear and intentional about it. So when you think about your own life, you have to write down the details of what's important to you in that partner, from their mindset to their job to their personality to their physical appearance. You have to get clear about it, but not just about for the other person. You also have to get clear about who you want to be as a partner. I cannot stress that enough. Who you show up as is just as important as who you're looking for. And then that creates a beautiful opportunity to get really intentional when you're in that dating process, when you're in your current relationship. This isn't just about for finding your partner. You can create that list right now, and you can draw that out of your current partner. You can connect on a new level and still create that within your current relationship. That is possible. So that's the number one secret to creating the love that you really want is getting that vision, having that crystal clear vision. So when I talk about this, that means you're going to spend at least an hour journaling about who that partner is and getting so specific on who you want to be as a partner and how you want your relationship to feel, how you want to show up in it. What does it feel like? What are the things you say to yourself during that relationship? Is that I feel so loved, or I feel incredibly grateful, or I feel so connected. Think about all of those things and write for an hour at least, and think about what do you want for that relationship in, if it's a current relationship, what do you want for it in 5 years? What do you want for it in 10 years? Or if you aren't in a relationship, what do you want for your future relationship? What are those words, if you were to get really specific, that you would use to describe how you want that relationship to feel and to feel at your core? And then this actually goes for both, whether you're currently with someone or if you are single, review that vision. It's like your vision board. You can create a completely separate vision board simply for your relationships, because that is how important they are to your overall happiness. So now on to secret number 2. This is all about putting in the work. So you have to continually put in the work every single day consistently. So that's secret number 2. You always got to be putting in the work every single day consistently. So whether you're single or you're dating, you got to put in the work. So you can't simply have this idea, this vision of what you want, and just sit back and wait for it to come to you. You have to do the work. You have to take action. You have to keep growing, keep learning, keep stretching yourself out of your comfort zone on a regular basis. That is such a vital aspect of creating the love that you want, is to do the uncomfortable stuff. Keep making yourself grow. So with that, I'm going to break it down to a couple different steps. So the first step is do the work to get to know yourself. So the relationship that you have with yourself dictates every other relationship that you have in your life. So do the work to get to know yourself. It's a lot of fun. It really is. It seems stressful or it seems uncomfortable, but trust me, you will notice so much change when you do the work to get to know yourself. So what does that even mean to do the work to get to know yourself? Well, get to know your personality type. Get to understand what you really love. Spend time connecting to those things that you really love, that you always say you don't have time for. Uh, it's diving into your strengths finder or your disc assessment, or it's taking yourself out on dates by yourself. I think it's The Artist's Way. That book really encourages taking yourself out once a week on a creative date. And that is such an important aspect of getting to know yourself. Also, journaling really helps you get to know yourself. I cannot tell you how many clients I've had that have shared that they thought they were coming into work on one thing, and once they started working on themselves, everything else started to shift around them. So it's never the actual problem, but working on that relationship with yourself truly changes every other area of your life. So that's step one of doing the work. Step two is do the work to understand what you really want in your relationship. So this is all about not comparing your relationship or what you want to someone else. It's not about living up to the expectations of your mom, your aunt, or your grandma. It's about you. It's about you truly understanding and doing the work to understand what you want in that relationship. And number three is do the work of putting yourself out there. Do the work of putting yourself out there. So if you're single, that means doing the work of getting on the dating apps and letting your friends know that you're willing to be set up. If you're in a current relationship, it's about doing the work to keep growing every single day with your partner. Keep growing individually and keep growing together. I cannot stress that enough, how important growth is. And then a couple other pieces for doing the work. So there's step one, step two, and step three. And now a couple other pieces of doing the work is having intentional conversations and really being present, whether you're dating or in a relationship. It's about reminding your partner how much they mean to you. How good does that feel? Doesn't it feel good when someone gives you a compliment? And yet, how many of us do not give compliments nearly as much as we wish we would, right? But it feels good. It feels good to give it. It feels good to receive it. So remind your partner how much they mean to you or the person you're dating or a future partner. Seek to understand your partner better. Seek to understand or to listen to understand your partner and what's really important to them. So I know for me, sometimes I get caught up multitasking and I'm trying to fit everything in, and I have to tell myself, hold on, you weren't listening. And then I say out loud and I tell Curtin, like, I am so sorry. I was not listening to anything you said. Will you please repeat it? I promise I'm listening right now. And it's just owning up to the fact that when you aren't listening, it's not about covering it up. It's not about pretending you heard something, but it's truly listening to understand that other person and what's important to them, because chances are what they're sharing with you is important to them on some level. The other piece that helps you keep growing by doing the work is experiencing new things together and having more date nights. I know it's easier said than done, but that makes such a huge difference. And also to change up your mode of communication. So don't just always text, because you'll get in a rut of always just asking, hey, how's your day? But take time to call, do unexpected calls just to say hi, send emails, send pictures of the beautiful day that it is, or whatever. I send pictures of my dog. But do things, whether it's letters, notes, emails, texts, phone calls, videos, like Marco Polo is a great video app. It's kind of like a video walkie-talkie, Facebook or whatever it is. but switch it up, make it a little bit more fun because it can be so easy to get in that rut. But if you're doing the work and putting in the work, you're going to switch up your level of communication and variety that you put into your relationship. And then another one that I just want to share last in this section is do the work to do activities that help you to grow together. So an example of this I have is we do the love box. So my fiance and I do the love box. We've been doing it, I think, this entire year. I think we started back in January, maybe February. But what we do is we have just a good old shoebox and some Post-it notes, and we will write in there throughout the month all the different things that happen that month that we love about the other person. And then at the end of the month, so we're going to do it on Saturday of this month. And what we do is I take all the ones that he put in there and I read them out loud. And he takes all the ones that I put in there for him and he reads them out loud. And we just take turns reading them out loud. And I cannot tell you how deeply connected we feel after doing that and how it grows our relationship and brings us so much closer because we're taking time to acknowledge and appreciate and be present with the other person and look at the good in the relationship. Okay, so now on to secret number 3. So secret number 3 is the disciplines of love. So I've got about 5 different disciplines here that are critical in order for you to create that love you want. So it's all about cultivating and really living out these 5 disciplines. So I'm going to go down the list. The first one is you need to have unconditional love and compassion for your partner. So much easier said than done. You have to have unconditional love and compassion for your partner or that next person that you start dating. It's not about keeping track of all the things that they did wrong or all the things your partner didn't do. It's not about keeping a tally of how many times he or she calls and texts versus how many times you do. It's not keeping track of who initiates it. It's not keeping a scorecard. Having unconditional love and compassion is not about keeping a scorecard. You do not keep a scorecard when you have that unconditional love and compassion for that person that you're in a relationship with. And having unconditional love and compassion means that you do not keep that scorecard and bring up all the things that that person did wrong the next time you guys have a disagreement or a fight or whatever it might be. You forgive. You don't keep a scorecard. You don't bring it up after the fact and keep a tally of it. You forgive. That's a huge one. Number 1 thing. Okay? Number 2, discipline. You need to know the truth about your relationship and respect yourself and your partner. So this one is all about communicating how you feel when you feel something is off or when something's not working. You need to respect yourself enough to communicate that with your partner. You need to respect yourself enough to communicate your needs with your partner. You need to respect your partner enough to really be there and, respect how they react. They have different feelings. We can't control other people. It's not that their feeling is right or wrong, but just respect whatever's coming out for them. So the more that you respect yourself and you respect your partner, the more they will respect you and the more love that they will have for you. And you also need to tell your truth about your relationship. So think about your relationship, where it's at. Maybe think about a past one. What was the truth? You can ask yourself a simple sequence of questions. Is this true in my relationship? Whatever you say about your relationship. And then, is this really true? Can I believe that this is true without a doubt at all? Because so many times we tell ourselves lies about our relationship and about things that are going wrong or that we think our partner is doing. And when you ask yourself if it's really true, Chances are it's not. And it's this crazy mind of ours that decides to tell us so many things that are wrong in our relationship when they aren't. We make things up. It's the crazy fun aspect of our brain and how it's so powerful to do so many things. And when we don't focus it intentionally, we start to make stuff up. So it's about asking yourself, is this really true? The third discipline is communicate your expectations ahead of time in a really clear way and communicate them often. So the biggest thing with this one is remembering your partner, not a mind reader. Your partner is not a mind reader. You cannot expect them to know what goes on in your head unless you communicate it clearly, and communicate it often. So I'm just going to take a poll. How many of you guys have been frustrated when you, in your current relationship, or maybe in a past relationship, when you thought you communicated something and they either forgot or they didn't do something because of it and it caused this fight? Ask yourself, did you actually clearly communicate it? Did you communicate it more than once? If not, chances are it wasn't very clear. So communicate often. That's a hard one for me because I think if I told him, he should listen. If I said it once, he should listen. And yet I just told you earlier how sometimes I don't listen that well. Sometimes I have to check myself. And the same thing goes for you and your relationship and your partner. You got to check yourself, and you got to have some compassion when they don't hear you. And that's why it's best to communicate often. So I have a client that, in that relationship, they've got a few kids, or in that marriage, I should say, they have a few kids, and they have had some frustrations in how they are both deciding to parent and discipline the kids. And that has created so much tension. Therefore, in that intimacy aspect of the relationship and wanting to grow in their marriage together based off of the conflict that they're experiencing around their kids and around their expectations with how they parent. So something that happened was they both had separate expectations about how they were parenting their children. They didn't communicate it to each other. They didn't communicate lay down the ground rules of how they wanted to parent and how they wanted to discipline. So therefore, because it was never communicated about, they both got frustrated with each other, and they both weren't saying anything about their frustration. They weren't respecting their other partner by talking about what it was that was really frustrating them. And then that started to tear apart their relationship. So they eventually had the courage and some guidance and some coaching about how to talk about it with each other. But that is a very real example of how something that seems unrelated to your relationship can have such a massive impact on your relationship with your partner, and the impact of not communicating your expectations. It can tear apart a marriage. So even if you think it's something so small and you don't need to communicate it or whatever it is, over communicate. It will always benefit you. Okay, so the next one is give freedom to yourself and to your partner. Give yourself freedom to be your true self. And then also give your partner that same freedom. So do what sets your soul on fire, and give your partner that independence to let them do what sets their soul on fire. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you have to do everything together, right? And you have to have the freedom to do what brings you joy and keeps you alive and lights you up. And you also need to give your partner that same respect and freedom to do what lights them up and sets their soul on fire. The last one. So the last of the 5 for the disciplines of love. You guys ready for this one? And this is all about believing in who your partner is at their core. So don't let their words or actions overshadow what they've proven to you, who they've proven to you that they really are. This is a big one because we all make mistakes. We all do things. that can hurt someone unintentionally. So believe in who your partner is at their core. So sometimes we do things that don't reflect our truth. I've been there, you've been there, we've all been there. But always be sure to give a meaningful and heartfelt, I'm sorry, and always forgive to the best of your ability. And the thing to remember here is forgiveness. So many times people have the misperception that forgiveness is about forgiving another person. However, forgiveness is actually about you, it's about me. So when we forgive, we're actually doing that so that we can move on, so that we don't hold that pent up resentment, because resentment is like drinking your own poison, it ruins your life. So when we forgive, it's not about, oh, I'm giving in and I'm going to forgive that person. No, you forgive so that you can have the freedom to live your life without resentment the way you want to, because you are not in your truth when you're like just filled with ugly resentment. That's like drinking your own poison. So just to recap the 5 disciplines. So unconditional love and compassion for your partner. You need to know the truth about the relationship and respect your partner and respect yourself. Communicate expectations. Be super, extremely clear. Number 4 is give freedom to yourself and your partner in that relationship. And number 5, believe in who that person is at their core. Believe in the truth about who that person is and who they've proven to you. We're all going to make mistakes, but you got to believe in who that person is at their core. Number 4, so our 4th secret of creating the love that you want in your current relationship or in a future one is having the courage to be vulnerable. Oh, this is hard. Having the courage to be vulnerable. Because sometimes it's so hard to say how you actually feel, right? It's so hard to be honest with someone else about what you feel or what you really need, because most of us don't like asking for help, even though it makes everyone else feel good when they get to help you. But half the time we don't even want to ask for it because we feel like a burden asking for it, right? I know you've been there. I know I've been there. But it's only going to get harder the longer you wait. And it will only create a divide between you the more you try to do everything on your own and not be vulnerable and communicate what's really showing up for you and what's really important to you. Sometimes you might get frustrated by your partner, and whether it's a conversation, an argument, something shows up in your relationship where you might feel hurt. And that's normal. It's happened to all of us. It's normal. And this is where you can really practice the courage to be vulnerable, is when you experience something where you feel hurt or you feel like you guys got into an argument or a fight of some sort. It's about taking these steps to really understand. And again, back to secret number 2, to do the work. It's whenever that fight or that argument or that experience you have of being hurt or frustrated or angry, it's first take some time to understand what it is that you truly feel. So journal about the fight, journal about the misunderstanding, whatever happened. Ask yourself how you felt. Ask yourself what the truth is in the situation. Ask yourself what you want to communicate to your partner about that situation. What do you need them to know? And then ask yourself, what can you and your partner do differently in the future to prevent this from happening again? What did you two learn from that misunderstanding? So you got to do all that journaling to understand how you really felt, what you want to communicate to your partner, what's the truth about the situation, and then what can you two do together to mitigate that same thing happening again? What did you learn from it? And then once you do all that inside work of figuring out how you really felt and what you need to communicate to your partner, before you go and communicate that to your partner, you don't want to completely blindside them with it, right? This is something more meaningful, heavier to talk about. So you want to make sure it's a good time where You can give all your attention, undivided attention. They can give all theirs. So you're not going to do it when it's in the middle of bedtime for the kids or dinner and your 2-year-old isn't eating, whatever, is throwing food at the dog, or your 7-year-old is asking you a bunch of homework questions. You're not going to do it then. You're going to find some uninterrupted time to be present, and be sure to ask your partner, is now a good time to talk? Because we don't know what's on their mind. And right now, maybe it wouldn't be a good time to talk for them because they're so stressed out, or they're thinking about this, that, or the other thing, and they can't focus. And we don't know that because you can't tell that from the outside. So it's really important that after you do all that journaling about whatever that frustration, misunderstanding, or fight was about, before you talk about it with your partner, you got to ask, is this a good time to talk? And share what you felt. And then when you also think about communicating with your partner, you got to do that in person. If it's about a fight, misunderstanding, some pent up anger you have about something, you got to do it in person. Because that physical touch and being able to hug or whatever after that fight makes such a massive difference. And so many other ways of communication can easily give off the wrong message or be misunderstood. So in person is always best. So always ask if now's a good time to talk, do it in person, and then have the courage to talk about the fights, frustrations. Because when you do this, when you take time to learn from each one, that will only bring you closer together. So we all know people that fight and bicker in their relationship, and they take little digs at each other, and it clearly does not bring them closer together. And it just goes on, and then it builds up. But maybe you're the couple that maybe you had a huge, like when you fight, you have huge fights. Do the work to understand what's going on there, because it's not a bad thing that you have a huge fight. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you do the work to figure it out, to communicate about it, to talk about how you make it better in the future, that I guarantee will only bring you two closer together and strengthen that relationship way more than it was before that fight. Okay? So that is a huge piece to remember. So now I've got just a couple last tips and resources that I want to share with you real quick here. So these are just some of my favorite tidbits that I'm going to leave you with. So just as a recap, the 4 secrets are: have a vision, do the work, take the action, put in consistent effort. It's knowing what those 5 disciplines of love are and living them. And the 4th secret is having the courage to be vulnerable. Those 4 things are guaranteed to create the love that you want when you do it on a consistent basis. So a couple last tips and tools, resources. Always aim to learn something new about your partner every week. That will bring you two so much closer together and get you out of a rut of just, oh, there's no new angle to my partner, nothing new about them. I know everything. No, you don't. Aim to get to know something. Even if it's something about their family or something they enjoy, it can be tiny. Just get to know something new about them. And don't let the comparison game get in the way when you first start dating, and have an open mind. That person that you might be comparing your relationship to someone else, and then therefore you end it because you're like, oh, it's never going to be this, as you're comparing. You might have missed out on someone really incredible. So have an open mind with it, and let your goal be in dating, let your goal be to have more fun and make it an enjoyable experience. Another one is, the more you learn about yourself, the more you learn about yourself, you will know more about what you want your relationship to look like, which we touched on already, but I just need to reiterate that the growth that you have in yourself makes such a huge difference. And then it's never too late to start a new relationship or to repair the one that you're in. It's never too late. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Always remember that. Number 5, never let yourself settle for less than you deserve. Never. You are worth it. Don't settle. Don't settle for any form of mistreatment. Don't settle for anything that makes you feel inferior. Don't settle. You are worthy of a loving, committed relationship that brings you joy. And then also read the book, The 5 Love Languages. That is a fantastic resource, The 5 Love Languages, for you to understand not only how you like to receive love, but also how you default to giving love to other people. So it's great for relationships with your romantic relationships, but it's also great for your other relationships in your life as well. You'll learn a lot about yourself through that book too. All right. So with that, that's our masterclass for today. That is everything you need to know to get started with creating the love that you want. If you have more questions, you can put them in the chat box here. You can email me over at hello@amandabelke.com. In the description below, I did put a free relationship checklist that has the 7 communication strategies that you need. Because like I said, that is what's going to make or break your relationship on so many different levels. So grab that free resource down below. And then there's also another link down there where if you want to talk about your specific relationship or dating or fear around being in a relationship or just need a breakthrough, there's a link down there for you too. So we can connect one-on-one and we can talk about your specific relationship. So know that you can do that and you deserve to have the relationship that makes you feel love and makes you feel joy and truly makes you happy. That is possible for you. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you want to be a part of the email family for Amanda Belke Coaching, head on over to www.amandabelke.com and you can sign up there as well. All right, you guys, have a really great rest of your day. We'll talk soon.